Going into the tough road matchup, first one of the season, top 5 team, how important would it be to score on your first drive?
To score on our first drive? Any game is good to score on your first drive. It kind of sets the tone for the game. Obviously, it doesn't mean that you won the game by any means. You got the whole game left to play, but that's the goal every time you step on the field is to go score. So scoring on the first drive would be great, and that's our goal.
Going into a big road environment the first time this season with a lot of young guys, what kind of things as a veteran do you tell those guys going into their first college road game?
Just that number one, you can't act like it's not different. It is different. You have to be aware of that before the game. You have to go in there with anticipation and help those guys understand what they may see, what they may hear, but then also just to block it out. That's a lot easier said than done sometimes, but we're going to have practice with the noise all week, I'm sure, so they'll get used to that, but just going to have good communication and then stay locked into what we're doing.
You mentioned the practicing with the noise. Is there really any way to really replicate, what it feels like being in a place like that, or
Yeah, I'd say so. When you get in the indoor and you turn the volume all the way up, it gets loud. So you have an opportunity to do that if the volume's loud enough, which I think that it does get loud enough. There are times on the indoor where if it's really turned up, you can barely hear each other. So that's similar to a stadium. So I think you can emulate it pretty good.
How about the connection that you have with Keandre and what he's been able to do so far this season? What have you seen from him?
Yeah, it's been great so far. Obviously, with him coming in the summer, we tried to expedite things as quickly as we could, and it's been great getting to know him. I consider him a friend of mine, and just working on the field, and then also just getting to know each other off the field too. That's important, and so we've been able to connect a few times now, and I know that that's just going to continue to keep getting better, and as we get more of a feel for each other, and so I'm excited to keep rolling with him.
Peyton, you guys played Georgia close all the way to the end last year. One, what do you remember for that game? And two, how much do y'all take from the fact that y'all know that y'all can compete with a team like Georgia's caliber all the way?
Yeah, obviously remember that game last year here in our place, and like you said, we had a chance in the fourth quarter, and so unfortunately wasn't able to come out on top. But obviously they're a great team. They're a championship team who's done it before, and have a lot of respect for them. And but at the same time, you take from last year that, like you said, we can play with the top teams in the country. We proved that multiple times, and so for us, it's just about executing, putting together a good week's work, practice, and then trusting what our coaches are giving us, and then doing our best to go out there on Saturday and execute to the best of our ability and get in the end zone.
Peyton, where would you say you're at? I guess mentally, kind of the last few weeks have been up and down. Do you feel like you're in a better spot now with sort of the flipping back and forth, or have you tried to stay consistent even when Hank was starting?
Yeah, obviously you try to stay as consistent as you can with your preparation and everything and your mindset, but like I said before, that's not realistic all the time. When you're in different situations, you're going to have different feelings, different emotions, throughout that time, and so I dealt with those things, but I did my best to learn from whatever the situation was, whether it is what it was, and so like I said, I feel like I took a good mindset. I try my best to take a good mindset with it, and take what I can learn from it, and so I feel good with where I'm at right now.
You strike me as a pretty quiet dude, like in normal. And when Freeze is coming at you in a game, he's pretty hot. You know what I mean? I know you've been around this your whole career, but sometimes you have to compartmentalize when he gets really angry with you.
I wouldn't say I'm a quiet guy.
Okay.
For sure, I would definitely not say that. And if you ask my high school teammates, they would laugh at you. I have been around that. Having my dad as a coach, obviously, throughout my life, he was always the most calm during football. The worst was basketball. Oh my gosh, my mom wouldn't sit by him at basketball games for whatever reason. It was basketball, but yeah, I dealt with that before. So, when you get into competitive environments like that, sometimes your emotions get a little hot, like you said, and so that can go both ways. And you try to calm down the best you can, and just listen to what I'm listening to what coach is saying. He's hearing what I'm saying, and then we try to get on the same page. So, I'm not really worried about that at all.
You say your dad was worse in basketball.
Yes, yeah. With football, I don't know if he just like felt like I had it under control or what, but if you ask anybody in my family, it was always basketball was worse.
Cameron had some drops early in the season. Then he had that one in the first drive last game. What do you say to a guy, especially a guy like him, who's obviously very talented, went on to have a few big catches in that game? What do you say to a guy, going back to the sideline after plays like that?
Yeah, especially that one. I told him it's the first drive. It's early in the game. Just put it behind and don't dwell on it. You got a whole game in front of you. You can be pissed off about it after the game, but for right now, just put it behind you and focus on what we're doing for the next drive. And he's obviously, like you said, a very talented player. That's a catch he's made a million times in his career. So if you start thinking about it too much, you're worse off than if you just scrap it and take accountability for it, which he always does. And then move on. So it's not too complicated. Just gotta it's a mental game sometimes.
And for him, dealing with those drops, dealing with the injury that he dealt with a little bit, how have you seen him kind of, develop and kind of grow, despite all the adversity early on in this?
It's only been a couple weeks, so I don't have too terribly much to say about that. I think his mindset's been great, and I think he's been getting better. And obviously, he's just learning what college is like. Still, it's his first season, and so you're just trying to gain as much knowledge as you can early on, and he's doing a good job with it.
You were on a show, I think today or yesterday, kind of talking about the interception against Oklahoma, and you defended the idea, the read. I think you said you would do it 10 times out of 10 if you had it in that scenario again. Do you understand why, like, a regular fan would be like, wait, what? He would do that 10 times out of 10 to give up a pick six like that?
Yeah, it doesn't
but it's more complicated than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right? That's like, why the hell would you do that?
Right.
So I agree with that. But with the play that was called and what we talked about doing against that defense, like I said, they were in cover zero look. We had 5 out, it was empty, no running back in the game. So we have 5 offensive linemen for the fans that know how to do math.
And you're getting mugged.
Yeah, and then we got what's called a split double mug look, and so both the backs are mugged up in the A gaps, and so you had to do something with the protection there. And so the plan going into it was, I got my quick intermediate route. I would like to see the free hitter, which was the boundary end, so I slid it to the field, all 5 of our guys. Because as a quarterback, you don't necessarily, unless you're on the move, you don't like not being able to see who the guys that can hit you. If you slide it right, you don't really like turning and feeling like, I don't know where that guy's at.
I would like to know the guys.
Exactly, and so my first read is that mug backer, and if he shows that he's coming, which both guys, when I clap and catch the ball, both showed that they were coming, and we have a choice route to the boundary that can go in or out. Now I got to find that guy to know, okay, did he break in or did he break out? So I look at the backer, I see him coming, go to find our choice route. He wins inside, I throw it to him, and my eyes can't go in 2 different directions. And so when I checked to see that he was coming, I have to slide now to the left too, because I got the free hitter coming from the end who was coming, and I got to get that ball off, and I throw it, got hit, and I heard the crowd, and so I was like, oh, crap, I don't know what happened. And so then I get up, and obviously he had done a really good job. They had a good call on. He did a good job of coming up, put hands on our offensive lineman, showed me he was coming, and then dropped out. So it was well executed by those guys, and I look back on that play, and I did what my plan was and what we had talked about in the week. And like I said, it's a tough situation, and it stinks. I did have a thought of checking our 3 receivers, but the play clock was really running low, and so I just decided to leave the call on that we had.
When you rewatched it, did you think it was kind of an unlucky hit? Did you think he would have pulled back fast enough? It almost seemed like Jeremiah got a really good hit on him. He almost stumbled into the passing lane. Or do you think he maybe would have peeled off in time regardless? I don't know if you saw that on the play.
No, yeah, I mean, that was the call. The call is that they take a step forward to show that they're coming, and then they drop out. And so, like I said, it was a good call in that situation. It was third and 5, and we're on the fringe of field goal range. So I'm thinking they had loaded the box at the first 2 plays to stop the run to keep us at where we were at. And then I was thinking 3rd and 5, there's a good chance they're going to come after me to try to get a sack and get out of field goal range. And so it was definitely that was they were doing that on purpose. They showed it and dropped out. And he did stumble a little bit because he was trying to get out of there because he has to take his steps and get hands on. If you watch, they all get hands on. I'm sure that's what they're coached to do, and then they get out. So you know, stinks.
Overall, what kind of impact have the young receivers had this season?
They've had a good impact. You know, obviously, I think 3 of them have gotten in the end zone, and they've all been doing good things in practice throughout the year, and they got a good amount of catches under their belt, and have been able to make some plays for us. So, you know, what'll be 5 games in? I think they've done a good job so far.
Free said he thought the helmet communication helped a lot in this game in particular. He said there was a lot of stuff he was able to check before the play with you. What was kind of your perspective of what you guys were able to do from that perspective?
Yeah, you know, we huddled more than we ever have, more than I ever have in my career, and I think more than Coach Freeze usually does for sure. And so I actually enjoyed it. It was a change up, and I enjoyed being able to talk to my guys before every play and just look at them. There's something about that, about looking a guy in the eye and having the whole 11 right there in front of you. And you know, we had talked throughout the week it was going to be kind of like an NFL type game. You know, field position was going to matter this week more than usual. You know, turnovers always matter, but that was something that's going to matter. And just talent-wise, you know, in this league, talent is not completely even across the board, but it's, you know, especially with the last couple of years, it's become fairly even. You know, there's good players on every team, and so all those things matter to win a game, a big game on Saturday. So the huddling was, you know, an NFL aspect of that as well. So I enjoyed it, and I think that, you know, it's a useful tool.
With y'all huddling more, do they have to communicate the plays to you more quickly?
I think a little bit, and I
Okay.
think I did enjoy that too.
Yeah.
We got the play in. I felt like in good time I was able to have my eyes on the play clock the whole time and had a feel for when I want them out of the huddle. Get to see the defense as we approach the line of scrimmage, and then have a chance to make any checks that we need to.
Do you think that'll continue?
I'm not sure. We'll see.
Thanks, Pete.
Payton Thorne, thank you.